Jai Hind students, welcome back to my IT tutorials. And today I'm going to discuss about the communication barriers. As you can see the title, and it's a session 3 of unit 1 of your book. And there are certain objectives for today. One is introduction. We'll see that types of communications barriers, the barriers related to the formation of masses, internal and external barriers, measures to overcome the barriers of communication, overcoming internal barriers and overcoming external barriers. These are the objectives for today. Let's see one by one. Now, barriers, communication barriers. Of course, in life, there are barriers in each and everything what we do. In communication, of course, we have a barrier. These are the obstacles that restrict a receiver to receive the right thing. That can be considered as a communication barrier. So communication barriers can be any kind of obstacle for the communicators, for the receivers to receive the exact message. That is what communication barriers is. For example, maybe I'm not good in English. It's a barrier for me. I may not interpret the things delivered by the sender. Maybe I am not my tone is not good. My accent is not good. It's again the barrier for me. I may misinterpret the things. I'm not good in language, English language. Again, it's a barrier for me. And likewise, there are many barriers in communications. So communications, if it is without barrier, then it's wonderful. But if there are certain barriers in the communication, then definitely the communication will be not again perfect or efficient. So we'll see what are the barriers in communications. So what is communication barrier? It is basically an obstacle that restricts us to receive the exact message, that restricts a sender to deliver exactly what he wants. That is what communication barriers are. Now, there are two types of communication barrier broadly. One is internal barrier and one is external barrier. Now, internal barriers are the barriers that is there in the mind of the senders or mind of the person who is receiving it. That's what it's called an internal. For example, pre-assumptions of mind regarding a person, ki person is not good. It's an internal barrier. I may be not interested to listen to you. Once you have that, being as an student and you are not liking a particular teacher due to some reason, it's an internal barrier. Now, internal barrier, it's just again things that you have in your mind that you assume, presume, or it's completely related to the mind of the senders if sender is delivering the message. Or again, it may be in the mind of the receivers if receiver is receiving I'm not in mood to receive. I'm not well. This may be there. So this is what the internal barriers are. And in case of external barriers, there are certain again like barriers which is not again controlled under you or you can't control it. For example, I'm speaking and there is some noise going on. It's external barrier. Maybe external barrier means the network signals is very weak. I'm trying my best, but due to the weak signal, you are not able to receive well. That is what my voice is again some way fluctuating due to some reason. These are the external barriers which is not under control of a sender. So this is two kind of broadly barriers are internal barriers and external barrier. So what is barrier? It's an obstacle that restrict a receiver to receive the exact message. That is what barriers are, and there are two kind of barriers, internal and external barriers. Now we'll see the barriers related to the formation of masses. There may be a lot of again barriers that is related to the formation of the masses. Now once you are again delivering a message, once you are composing a message, once you are making a particular sentence, that time you may have a lot of barriers. We'll see or we'll discuss one by one what are the barriers related to the formation of the message. Message you all know, it's a data that you want to deliver. It's a information that you want to share with the others. These are what the messages are. Let's see what are the barriers related to the formation of message. It may be your message is lengthy or complicated. Maybe it will be a barrier for the receiver. Receiver will be not in mood to listen, or you will be not in condition to deliver it well. So first is the barriers related to the formation of the masses is masses should be not again too much large or complicated, then definitely will be not able to deliver it well, and at the receiver end, receiver will not receive it well. Second, maybe linguistic issues. If I'm not good in English, if my tone is not good, if the symbol that I use to present the data are not accurate, then again it will be a barriers for communication. The second point is linguistic problem, and that linguistic issues are related to the communication skills of yours, language expertise of yours, the symbol, notations that you use, body language that you use. This all comes under the linguistic issues. Second point as a barrier in the message formation. Third could be inconsistent tone or non-verbal communications. Inconsistent tone. Same word you are communicating in the different tone. The maybe people may confuse what he said. Determine, determine. Prejudice and prejudice. Now there are many tomb or tomb. If sometime I am using the tomb as a tomb, and another time I am using the same as a tomb, you may confuse. Sometimes you'll write the TOOM, sometimes you'll write the TOMB, since my tone is not again clear. So that could be also one of the barriers once we are communicating. So what 3 points you have seen? Your message should be not complicated or not should be too much lengthy. Second is linguistic issues. Maybe if I'm not good in language part. And third is our consistent tone. I must again speak the same word in the same pronunciation completely till I'm communicating. That is what the third point is. Next point, maybe these are 3 points of the barriers related to the message formations. So I hope these 3 points. What is barriers, communication barriers? The type of communication barrier, there are 2 only you have to remember, internal, external, and barriers related to the formation of the masses. You have seen the 3 points. Your message should be very again a limited one, not again lengthy one, not a complicated one. You should be good enough in a linguistic part of yours, and the consistent tone you must use. If it is not there, it will be again the barriers in the message formations. Now come to the internal barriers and external barriers. Internal barriers, I just said, the barriers that generally again occur due to the mind again problem of a particular person's. Due to the things which are in the mind of a particular person, that is a internal barriers, because it's completely related to the person who is receiving my message. Not external agencies is disturbing him. He may be thinking about something. He is not again well. He is not in mood to listen. These all barriers will be the part of internal barriers. So internal barriers is due to some internal traits or frame of the mind of the communicators. I'm again not happy with you. So maybe my delivery of or my communications may be not good. To see you, I become annoyed. And to see the nature of yours, so this may be the internal issues of the internal barriers. Now factors responsible for internal barriers include the intense emotions of yours. To listen something, you start again becoming too much emotional. You will be not in condition to listen well. And the poor listening skills, that again related to a particular person. It's not external agency which will improve. And there may be different viewpoints regarding the same thing that I delivered. You interpret it differently, others again interpret it differently. Again, it's related to a particular person, mind setup. That's why it's called internal barriers. Now, let's see what are the barriers comes under the internal barriers. One is fatigue or disinterest or excitement. I'm too much excitement. I'm too much excited. Once I'm too much excited and I'm communicating, maybe I'll be not able to communicate well, because excitement of mine again may spoil the show. So I should not be too much excited once I'm delivering the things, even it is required. Or maybe disinterested. I'm not in mood to deliver and someone again imposed me that task. So once you are there in the class, and if you are not interested to listen to the teacher, what will happen? Just assume Of course, the things that have been delivered by the teacher will be never again good, never again fruitful. The reason you are at home, though physically you are in the class, that's why interest of the person also is the internal barrier if you are not interested. Fine. Second is poor listening skills. If I'm not good in listening again, then definitely again it will be a problem for me to receive well. So I should be very good in listening. Second, internal barrier. Third is emotional barriers. I should be not too much emotional. A worried person can never deliver well. Even you are sad, but once you are communicating, the sadness of yours should not again become a shadows on your communication. Sadness of yours should not reflect in your communications. My problem is my problem, but once I am communicating, I should only again focus on my communications and on my task. Later I may go to my again past problem. But if during communications I am carrying my problems, internal problems, that will spoil the communication. And differences in the perceptions and the viewpoint, or you may have a different again perceptions or viewpoint regarding a particular things, and that also is one of the internal barriers. And prejudice or bias. Sometimes we are very biased. We are not again honest enough to decide about something. We just again support someone. We are against of someone without any reason, and that is again the internal barriers. Being as a communicator, we should never. And then sometimes it is a cultural differences also. I'm from the different culture, you are from the different culture. Culture of ours is not matching, and then it's again one of the internal barriers. So these are some of the internal barriers we have in communication. Now come to the external barrier. As I mentioned, external barriers are the external agencies which can disturb your communication, which can be obstacle for your communications. Maybe the environment where I'm communicating is not peaceful. Maybe a crowd and I'm not able to control the crowd, and I'm communicating, I'm delivering, there's no meaning. Maybe the what I'm using, technology I'm using, that is not perfect. Maybe the camera that is again going, sometimes it is fluctuating. Maybe the mics of mine is again sometimes not working properly. This all comes under the external barriers. Signals of yours, if you are talking on a phone and your opponent is not able to listen due to the poor signal, though you are a very good communicator, that's external again barriers in a communication. So noise and other distractions will be one of the external barrier. Then the physical barriers between communicators. Sometimes a communicator is not again able to listen. He having some eyes problem, he having some hearing problem, and then of course the communication will be not good. And the physical disability, it must be there. Now here physical barriers between the communicators are two persons are too much far and communicating, and your voice is not that way audible. The receiver may be not able to receive it, though you are delivering well. These are the physical barriers between the communicators. And then physical disability, here you can take example like a hearing problem or eyes problem, disabilities, any disabilities in the communicators. And then we have a physical barriers to non-verbal communication. Sometimes we are not good in our body language. We are not using the right body language the right time. People may again interpret differently, and that will also becomes a external again barrier. So there are two kind of barrier, internal, external, and both again disturb our communications. Both are the obstacle again in our communications. Now come to the measures to overcome the barriers of communication. How to overcome this all barriers that is there in our communication. We'll discuss that. Definitely being as a communicator, you have to keep certain things in your mind. Now one, keep it simple. Always whatever you want to deliver, whatever you want to communicate, keep it simple. Don't go very hi-fi. Don't use such word which sometimes they may not get or receiver may not get in the dictionary. Let it to be very simple. Simple way you try to express your ideas or views so that receiver can easily get it. Second is using correct language. My language should be very correct. I should be not again faulty in my language. I should be not again wrong in the language part of mine. Then of course communication will be good. So 2 point, let it to be very simple and keep your language correct. This we as a sentence can correct it, and as a receiver also we must improve so that there will be no again barriers. Third is using appropriate body language. I must be very expert in using my body language. Instead of saying yes, I am saying again nodding my head. So I must understand yes means this and no means this. If you want to say yes but your body language is like this, you may understand what interpreter or what people will interpret or what receiver will receive. That is what it is. So appropriate body language should be there. Now come to the overcoming internal barriers. One of the point, overcoming internal barriers. Now for this, be sensitive and empathetic. Be sensitive and empathetic always. Sensitive to the situation. Even a noise in your communications, something is wrong. You should be very again sensitive enough to understand that why this person is making noise, why this person start talking. Maybe they are not getting interest, or maybe my topic is not interested. That is what be sensitive. Then develop good listening skills. Develop that, because this is art and everyone haven't that. Everyone is not again good in that. So must start listening to people and try to interpret and slowly and gradually improve your listening capability. Then only you will be able to receive. That will help you to overcome the internal barriers. And trustworthy. Always have a trust on others. Once that will be there, you will consider the person who are delivering is again superior than me, and he must be talking something good for me. That's why a child must have a trust on the teacher in the class. And if you as a students have a trust on your teachers, so definitely your teachers will try his best to again deliver. Reason you are considering him as a guru, you are considering him as a superior, you are considering have a person enlightened one and going to again do something for you good. That is what it is. So develop trust. Keep your emotion in check. Don't be too much emotional. Even the situation are such, control it. And you know that nowadays EQ is considered to be more important than the IQ and other. So emotionally I should be very balanced. I should be not again start fluctuating due to some emotional problem. That is what it is. So that you have to increase, because no one else can improve your emotional skills. And then you have a do not assume. Do not assume the person's maybe not, because the person seems to be like this. Don't consider, don't assume in advance. That will also spoil. And be unbiased and fair. Mind it. Always have a fair again decision. And never be biased. That's also help you to again overcome from the internal barrier and respect other culture. Reason, we human beings are from the different culture society. We have our own way to handle the situation, and I must pay regard or respect to each and every culture. Then only our growth or only will be able to communicate well. This is how to overcome the internal barriers. And then come to the overcoming external barriers. Since it's external, so that we have to check in advance, because it may be a technology that I'm using, it may be the signal that is not there. So these are external, which is not under my control directly, but let's see how to control it. Use proper communication channel. That is the first and foremost point. I'm communicating with you. I'm taking a due care about my camera, about my voice, about the mic adjustment, and you must be able to see me well. It's not that I'm not in the camera, you are listening my voice, who is speaking, you may be always again keep on dreaming. So that's a channel, proper channel. So always check for each and every gadgets that you are using to deliver should be proper, then only start communicating. You started communicating and you later realize that mic was not on. What the meaning of that communication you can understand. So that is one. Then find the alternate means of communication to overcome psychological problem. Sometime, like communications, hearing aids should be used in such situations. A person is not able to get me due to the hearing problem. What I should use? You must have seen the person who is dumb have an indication. So for him or her, I must devise a system so that he may also again get some information. That you have to. You always have an alternate. You cannot say, I'm only for the person who are able to listen me. No, you must have some alternate for the person who have some physically hindrance. That will also help you. Use emojis while texting. Once you are communicating in the text form, must use a proper emojis, the symbol, the smiley that you use, so that it will be relevant and people will enjoy. And next is seeking feedback. And since it's external, what kind of communication it was, always ask at the end of your communications. So as a child, you must ask your teachers after the communication end. Once the communication ends, it's your right to ask your teachers if you haven't got. And likewise, being as a teacher, I must ask you, any problem? Do you have any problem? You want to ask something? This should be my task. Then only we'll improve our external barriers. So overall, sum up, like what barriers are? It's an obstacle that's generally stop the receiver to receive the things. And types of communication barriers, internal, external, barrier related to the formation of the message you have seen. Message should be not bulky and it should be very small, simple. Likewise, internal barriers we discuss, measures to overcome the barriers of communication, overcoming internal barriers and overcoming external barrier. All points I covered. So this was the third chapter or session of Unit 1. Kindly go through this video and make a note and solve the exercise, very small exercise there at the end. So solve it and let me again know what you did. Send it through WhatsApp so that I can check and I can get back to you, or I can let you know if there is any problem. And kindly watch the video, keep on again making the notes, keep on watching again and again if it is required, so that the next sessions will be the session 4 of mine of the Unit 1. Thank you all.